Our show is meant to inspire you by giving you style tips, advice from shopping to traveling to entertaining to decorating. We have the tips for you to live your life to its fullest potential. Darlings, welcome to Style Savvy with Gayla, Bentley, and Ma Cherie. Oh my gosh, today we have a show for you. It's called Derby Darlings because we're taking you to the Kentucky Derby. We're going to show you ideas of how to have a party of your own at your own home and to go to the Kentucky Derby because I had the opportunity to do that and I wanted to show you all the inside scoops of everything that I learned. But first we're going to start with a quote about the Kentucky Derby. It was a very fine Southern gentleman that said this quote.
Yes, Irvin S. Cobb is quoted as saying, "Until you go to Kentucky and with your own eyes behold the Derby, you ain't never been nowhere and you ain't seen nothing."
Oh my God, that is so true. It's hard to put into words what you experience while you're there. Let's talk a little bit about him because he was fascinating.
He was. Irvin S. Cobb was an American journalist and humorist who wrote more than 60 books. He even acted and wrote for motion pictures. He also was a journalist and he wrote for thousands of columns. And then he also wrote plays. He died in 1944 at the age of 67. He is a Derby legend.
And of course, I have to mention this. He's absolutely handsome and debonair. I wish I had known you. We would have been really good together back then. But alas, my darlings, he's dead, so I won't have that opportunity.
No communicating with the dead here.
Yeah,
no, I know.
But 67, dying at 67 and like 1944 is not
unusual. That's true.
Yeah. I know, but he was a very handsome, dapper man.
Oh, he was. He was very dapper.
And, he started writing all about it. That's why people started writing about traditions and fun facts about the Derby. Let's tell you a few things about that we learned. See these puppies? 120,000 of these mint juleps are served annually in the 2-day period of the Kentucky Oaks and the Derby. This is the official mint julep glass, usually in sterling silver. They use the plastic ones at the Derby, but in anyone's farm home in the South, they use the sterling silver ones. And it's always garnished with this fresh mint. And Ma Cherie, you know a little bit about this fresh mint. Tell us about that.
I do know about that mint because I grew it in my own herb garden.
Oh,
but at the Kentucky Derby, they use 1,000 pounds of fresh mint every year.
That is amazing.
To serve these beautiful mint juleps.
It has a flavor to the mint julep that you couldn't get with anything but that mint to counteract a little bit of that bourbon. Soften it a little bit so you can consume some of it.
Yes, and bourbon is native to Kentucky. But they also use 60,000 pounds of ice to serve these mint juleps and 10,000 bottles of Old Forester mint julep cocktail.
That's what they do. 10,000 bottles they go through. So let's talk a little bit about the Derby itself. The day before the Kentucky Derby, there is another Derby, which we talked about earlier, Ma Cherie.
Yes, called the Kentucky Oaks, which is the premier race for female horses, which are referred to as fillies.
Oh, the fillies.
And in this case, the winner receives a garland of lilies instead of roses that is traditional for the Derby. It's appropriately named Lilies for the Fillies.
I love that. And most of the people are encouraged to wear pink.
Yes, in support of women's health issue awareness.
Yes. It's interesting to see people's interpretation of wearing pink because not only do women go, but men go as well. And they put so much effort into their outfits. I mean, that's why I said I found my people for putting so much effort into what they wear. Of course, the thing that makes me the most excited, Ma Cherie, what do you think that is?
Let me guess. The extravagant hats.
Oh my gosh, the hats. And they're all personalized. This was my second hat for the Derby. My first hat was at the private home that there was a huge Derby party that I went to, which I'll tell you more about. And it started to rain, so I got to change into my second Derby outfit because I was very prepared just in case that happened. So this was rainproof pretty much, and that's why Ma Cherie, for her rain outfit,
I am decked out in my wellies just in case of rain because apparently, not that I've been to the Derby yet, but the track produces so much mud that you have to be prepared with your shoes.
And you want to go on the track and visit with the winners and go to the ceremonies and do all that. But if you have on high heels, you don't want to do that because you want to ruin your high heels. The funny thing is, on the side of the road, if it had rained that day, very entrepreneurial young people
sit with huge baskets of flip-flops and sell them for like $20 a pair. So it's funny, you either see wellies or flip-flops at the Derby if it happens to rain that day. It's a place to showcase the latest spring fashions, and you and I love to do that. We're always ready to go somewhere with something pretty to wear.
That's right. And the greatest thing about it is that you don't have to do this at the Derby. You can also have a Kentucky Derby party at home and still showcase your latest spring looks.
Yes. We have 2 Derby Darling parties to tell you about, and they're both fabulous. So it's fabulous versus fabulous, because you can create fabulous wherever you are if you take the time to figure it out. So Ma Cherie, you had a fabulous party, and yours was held where?
It was held at my house. It was just a few friends, and it was a very last minute thrown together birthday party.
What instigated your party?
My friend Priscilla has a birthday that occurs every year around the Kentucky Derby. My friend Sarah called me and asked me if I wanted to put something together. And so I quickly did. And we just pulled what we had together out of our closets. We picked our spring looks and we had a fabulous time.
Yeah, and for me, it was a very spontaneous invitation that we received from my truly one of the most exciting, extraordinary women I know, who just had moved to Louisville.
Oh, wow.
And she was going to have a Kentucky Derby party at her house because they had been to it several other times, but she wanted to host this formal party. Invited Russell and I and 5 other couples.
How exciting.
And then the party gets you ready to go to the Derby. You arrive on one day. You have an evening where you get to meet the other people that came in from out of town, and then talk about what's going to happen at the Derby the next day, what's going to happen in her house before you go to the Derby. And then you go, and then the next day is recanting everything that we all learned and who we met and everything that happened the day of the Derby. So it's just the storytelling going on all the time. From when the minute you arrive to the minute you leave, you learn everything with Kentucky Derby, and you're around all kinds of high energy people that are so interesting to talk to, and what they have on, and how they want to all make each other look better. And one of the biggest parts of the Derby is the fashion and the hats and the fascinators. So at Ma Cherie's house, you decided to wear
just whatever we had in our closet.
There you go. So you can't go wrong there. Whatever's there is what you're going to wear.
Because it was very last minute and thrown together, so we didn't shop for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us already had fascinators that we wore.
Okay.
And some of us just brought whatever hats we had.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was our fashion. It was just spring fashion right out of our closets.
And for me, I made everything or organized it and styled it all before I went. And I decided that I would take 2 outfits, one in case it rained and one in case it didn't. What I'm wearing right now is what I wore because it did rain, and it repelled off of what I wore, so I didn't get soaking wet. And I had a fabulous parasol that I carried as well. Russell actually carried it for me. Anyway, it was fun to have 2 totally different outfits. My first outfit, I had embroidered Derby Darling on. You'll see the pictures in a minute. And that's really exciting because I thought of that. It just seemed to work out well.
Yes.
It's interesting when you think of something like, oh my God, you surprised yourself. That's because you take time to plan it. And then the outfit that I wore happened to be an outfit that my friend John had worn in a drag contest. And he was called Eileen Torsman. And he won first place. And it was a beautiful chintz fabric because he's a fashion designer. So I repurposed his outfit to make it more my style.
Perfect.
And wore that outfit with my fabulous hat and accessories. So that was my first outfit. Now things are winding down because everybody that's going to go to the Derby, it's time to leave. Well, our fabulous host and hostess, of course, have arranged transportation for us because it's very difficult to find a parking spot. And if you do, you're looking at $80 to $100 to park near the Derby. So Karen's husband, Craig, arranges everything, brings us to the Derby. And they had suggested not to buy tickets for the Derby until we arrived because we could get better seats at a better value. So, you follow the directions of people that have already done something. It really makes a difference. And this is exactly what we did. And so we're waiting outside. We're there at Churchill Downs, and just people are walking by. And like I told you before, I really found my people. I mean, men dressed in seersucker suits with their hats on, or wild printed suits, or just everybody all the men had a suit on. Most of them had bow ties on and the fabulous hats to go with them. The women went all out in decorating their hats. I mean, all out in their costumes. So it's like a giant costume party, but in very good taste. and they're all drinking their mint juleps, of course. Everyone's ready at the gates before they open the gates. You would think we were the horses in a contest ourselves. They open the gates, everybody pushes each other, rushes into the stadium to get to a seat or seats. And somehow God had some guardian angels push us into a certain area that ended up bringing us down steps onto the rails of where the Kentucky Derby is run. Some people had left, and the two people that were left in this box seats, they said, "Hey, just join us." And Russell goes, "I'll go get some mint juleps immediately." So he left me to talk to them and thank them, and he went and got a round of mint juleps. It was so cool to watch the Kentucky Derby on the front row on the rails. So because we were watching the whole Kentucky Derby on the rails, we get swept into the next wonderful tradition that's about to happen in the winner's box, where the winner of the Kentucky Derby is going to have a wonderful thing happen to them. We get to meet the owners, and there's so many people involved in having these wonderful horses win. There's like a whole 20 people involved, from who's, doing their caretaking to what they're feeding them, to how they're training them, to the people that are riding them, and they're all in the winner's box. So you get to meet everyone involved, and the people that pay for the horse. You're going to meet to the sponsor, because these horses are millions and millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
So this particular event, Ma Cherie, I was telling you about it.
Yes, the Rose Garland, which is awarded to the winner in the winner box of the Kentucky Derby every year.
So beautiful.
And each year, a garland of more than 400 red roses is sewn into a green satin backing. Each garland is also adorned with a crown of roses, green fern, and ribbon to wear.
But Coco is a special entry this year, isn't she?
Coco is a special entry because she is Ma Cherie's horse. And she is a filly, which apparently fillies can run, and 3 have actually won, right, Amanda?
Yes.
Only 3 fillies have officially won the Derby. The Derby is mostly compiled of male horses. That's why they had the Kentucky Oaks for the fillies.
Right.
But the fillies could still compete in the Derby.
I see.
So Coco this year has won her Derby.
Yes.
And
she's so precious.
Ma Cherie has decorated. She's not only braided her mane and her tail, but she also decorated her with this special wreath garland that we created for her.
Yes.
With just
symbolizing her the winner.
Yes, the winner.
She's our winner this year.
She's definitely Derby savvy.
That's
Derby
right.
savvy.
And she's a Derby darling.
Oh,
that's completely savvy.
Of course, every episode, we'd love to have a style savvy star. This is a really exciting segment for us.
Oh, it is. Well, this special woman, Karen Chavez, I met in Texas. We were doing an event for Women of the Year. And Karen and I worked on a committee with 4 or 5 other women putting this whole event together. And we just, some people you just become instantly sisterhood with, and she was one of those people. She was the chief of staff of the College of Medicine and assistant dean of planning and evaluation for A&M. We'd always visit when we could, the team of us 5 women. That's a whole story. You can read that in my book of what took place with that. But her house caught on fire and burnt down, and she lost her home. In the middle of that, God came through, and she was offered an assignment to go to the University of Louisville and become the chief of staff in the College of Medicine there. So her whole family picked up and moved to Louisville. And everyone in Louisville loved her because she's also a musician and a singer and has her own band called Karen Chavez and Friends. Her voice is even more beautiful than she is, which you can imagine that. But it's so cool because she attracts all these collegiate professional professors from the college. And then she has a whole group of jazz and audience members that come to hear at the band. So being with her in her home is so much fun because you have such an eclectic group of friends that you learn and enjoy everybody for different reasons. And she invited them all to the Kentucky Derby, and that made it so much fun. And she loves to write music, and she has this 125-year-old home, and we're going to show you some pictures of that here. And they literally have restored it inch by inch, love by love. And she has 2 wonderful children, Stephen and Hunter, and they take after their parents, Karen and Craig, because they're go-doers. When you meet them, you feel like you've always known them, and their sweet dog Lang. It's just a home you want to walk in that door because you feel love right away. So she's enjoying being retired now, and her husband's going to retire in a couple of years, but she's continually giving out the love, helping people feel better about themselves, and entertaining them with music. So our Style Star Savvy of the Month woman is Karen Chavez. And I hope you get to know her through this, and maybe you'll come to one of our parties and hear her sing. Wouldn't that be great, Ma Cherie?
That would be so beautiful.
Ma Cherie, like us, part of every celebration there will be food. So you and I always have to make sure we have the best food to share with people or to eat wherever we go. We find it somewhere. Let's talk about your Kentucky Derby that you organized in your home, because I know it was delicious.
Well, food definitely is a big part of our lives. So we absolutely, at last minute, had to come up with a menu. And so I always like to do, for a luncheon style event, finger foods.
Like this we're seeing in front of us right now?
Yes, very easy.
Ooh.
We made all these sandwiches just before the take today. And
you and Minnie Ma Cherie made them together?
Minnie Ma Cherie and I made them at our party, absolutely.
Okay.
And so we did some that she would enjoy, which she doesn't eat peanut butter, but she likes sun butter and strawberry jelly. So we did that.
You have those in there?
Yes, and then we did some
Oh, how
pimento
wonderful.
cheese.
Oh, I see those.
And
Those
she
delicious.
loves cucumber and avocado with cream
Oh
cheese.
my gosh, I haven't had one of those in years.
And then for the grown-ups, I
delicate
also
darling.
did... Yes. So for the grown-ups, I did some pimento cheese and
yes, a traditional
some
favorite.
ham and Swiss.
Oh, I see that.
And some turkey and provolone.
Oh
just
my
whatever
God.
sandwiches you like. We did some tuna salad. We did some chicken salad.
Oh my gosh, you're so thoughtful to do so many choices for so many people.
It's all about the presentation too. Look at
Yes, look at this presentation. I just
Yes.
want to inhale it all.
that. Oh, especially about the desserts.
Oh,
What's on
yes.
that?
So again, we had very limited time, so I just went ahead and did some store-bought macarons.
Where did you go to one store? You collected all this food at one store?
You can do that if
What
you
did you do?
So Trader Joe's is always a favorite go-to of mine
Oh,
because they
yeah.
have the macarons in multiple flavors, not very expensive, in the frozen section.
Yes.
And so you just pull those out
Oh my
and
God,
put them
my
on a
mouth is
platter
watering.
and they look fabulous.
Yes.
And they have kind of exotic flavors too, like fig and pistachio.
They always have an exotic arrangement of foods to choose from at Trader Joe's, don't they? For desserts.
Absolutely.
I see you found them all.
And then these vanilla meringues also came from Trader
Oh, I
Joe's.
love them.
And they're fat-free.
And gluten-free, right?
That's right.
Oh.
Oh,
And
golly,
then you
I
have
love it.
red velvet cupcakes because red velvet
My
obviously is
favorite.
very traditional in the South.
Yes.
And these actually came from HEB, but often you can find some type of pastry similar at Trader
Yes.
Joe's.
Yes.
And then I did chessmen cookies, which these are the spring edition. So they happen to have flowers on them, and I felt like they were perfect complement
Yes.
to our red roses.
Absolutely.
And what about your party, Gigi? What did you do?
Well, my hostess, Karen, and her husband, they, if you looked under hostesses with a mostess in the dictionary, you see both of their faces because they just thrive on serving people with love and food and beauty, which is what we look forward to here in Style Savvy. And they did a lot of Kentucky favorites because it was a Kentucky Derby like we were talking about before.
In Kentucky,
In
yes,
Kentucky.
absolutely.
So she prepared all the food herself.
wow.
And that one thing you see in the white ceramic thing, can you guess what that is?
At first, I thought it was caviar or something, but
Yes.
you said it was something different, like a dessert.
Yeah,
So
I thought it was bread pudding when she first sent it to me.
It's vanilla pâte de crème. And the next is that poached pear in a sweet vermouth, but it just melts in your mouth because it's like a 10-hour process to do this type of a pear. And then she did a lot of pasta plates and finger food again that you can make your own sandwiches so that people can
Nice.
mingle, and all kinds of curated meats and garnishes. She loves specific, like you do, the figs and the jellies
Yes.
that are mint jelly, of course, and things like that to complement anything that you would put together. And then she had like the mimosas and the Bloody Marys, in case you did not want a mint julep. And then, of course, non-alcoholic choices too. I know you did that for your party.
We actually have a variety of non-alcoholic choices, obviously, for Minnie Cherie. And so while we did serve a high tea style
Mhm.
luncheon, we had a selection of teas, hot
Mhm.
teas.
Mhm.
And then also I like to do mimosa almost,
Mhm.
but instead of using Prosecco, we use sparkling apple cider.
Well, but that's delicious together. I've never had that
Yeah,
together.
I've actually had it with the sparkling grape juice instead of apple cider.
Oh,
that
yes.
sounds
Sparkling
good
grape
too.
juice with the some like orange juice.
Yes, and instead
Let's do
of
a taste
using,
test here soon.
we should.
Yeah, that'd be a fun thing to have because I'd like to know which flavor is the one. You know, we like to do a drink for every occasion that we have.
What we like to do is buy the frozen sorbetto. And so you just
Ooh.
put a scoop of that in either the sparkling grape juice, sparkling apple
Mm.
I've
cider,
done that.
or sparkling wine.
That's
And it makes it nice and cold. And then you can put your sprig of mint on top as a garnish.
Oh.
And it is so delicious.
So, of course, we're eating, we're drinking, we're being merry, especially after quite a few of these. And then it's interesting how detours start happening, a celebration within a celebration. So I'll tell you my story, which I thought was funny. I went upstairs, and when I came back down, somebody caught me and said, "I love what you do with your eyes. Is that a cat eye?" And I said, "Yes." She goes, "I've always wanted to learn that." I go, "Well, just a minute." I went back upstairs, I got all my makeup. In these old 125-year-old homes, they have parlors.
Oh, yes, the little parlors.
Yes. And so in this one parlor, I was doing this woman's eyes and somebody else came in. And before you know it, all these women are in there looking at what I'm doing. And remember, they're all dressed up in their fascinators and their Kentucky Derby darb. They all wanted a cat eye.
Yes.
So I started calling it Cat Eye Corner. So I started putting cat eyes on everybody. But then after that, then we started doing photo shoots because everybody looked different.
Yes.
So that celebration took place within the celebration.
Ours was a celebration within a celebration as well. In fact, the Kentucky Derby part of it was the celebration within the birthday party that I
Oh
was
my
actually
gosh.
throwing.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 of my friends were interested in getting together for my other friend's birthday. And so that was really
The celebration within the celebration,
yes,
birthday.
And it really and we ended up having a fabulous time with all the addition of the Kentucky Derby and the food and the fun and the drinks,
celebration and
It
everything.
was fantastic.
Yes. So don't stick to a script when you're having a party. Try to find fun little things that deviate from it, that catches people off guard or surprises them, because then the excitement is something they weren't expecting. That's what I had to do to rev myself up, to pack for going to the Kentucky Derby. KISS, our favorite saying about keeping it savvy simple. I just wanted to tell you a wonderful way to pack, to keep it simple and efficient and organized and help you from not having a nervous breakdown. Once it's all planned, my 2 outfits, one for in case it rains and one that doesn't rain, both have to be the best I can come up with. I put each one of them outfit into one of these Nautica bags. These packing cubes are crazy fabulous because it keeps it so organized that you almost enjoy it packing. And here was everything from the outfit to the accessories to the underwear to the jewelry to the makeup, everything but the hat, because the hats have to be packed upside down and have socks and underwear around them. I use Russell's things for that to keep from keeping the brims from folding in the wrong direction. But it makes it so simple for when we travel to use these zipper containers, because every outfit is encased in one of these. And even like my pajamas and then my stuff that I use for my cosmetics, brushing my teeth is all in one. Everything is in one of these wonderful Nautica bags. You can find them at TJ Maxx. You can find them at Marshall's, right?
Yes.
And it really made a difference.
Amazon also sells them a lot
yes.
cheaper
Okay.
too.
Oh, Amazon has them cheaper. There you go. There's a tip for you.
I love a packing cube. I mean, it really keeps you organized. Like you said, it's keep it savvy simple.
Yes.
Yes.
So when it's time to get ready for the Derby, all I literally had to do is take it out of this packing cube, lay it on the bed, take my shower, come out, and just go through this cube and get dressed. And then Russell wasn't saying, "What am I wearing? Where is what I'm wearing?" Russell has his with his name on. He gets his own cube. He gets himself dressed. There's no back and forth and worrying about what he's doing, what I'm doing. And before you know it, we're ready to walk down the staircase to join the party. And we'll be doing another episode for you coming up about how Ma Cherie keeps one in the back of her trunk. So she's always set for whatever event she might be invited to at the end of the day. A whole outfit will fit in one of those.
That's right.
So we highly suggest those. And then we put them in the suitcases. And then the Apple tracker, you can buy them now and put them in the suitcase with your things. And in case the suitcase was to get lost from your phone, you can check where your suitcase is. So it's another thing that I highly suggest.
It's very beneficial for if you're flying.
Yes, especially if you have to change planes.
Oh, yes.
That's when they're really necessary.
Apple AirTags are such a great idea, even though you don't, you know, we didn't necessarily have those before.
Mm-hmm.
So those are absolutely great travel tools.
Yes. And then while you're at your event, you can take the Apple tracker and hook it to your purse in case anybody, God forbid, was to steal your purse. You can track it right away with this Apple tracker. So that's a new improved way of keeping things secure for yourself. Anyway, it was a nonstop flight, so I really didn't have to worry about losing my luggage. But you never know with the handlers of the luggage if they're going to put it on the plane or not putting it on the plane. So it doesn't hurt to become, as precise as you can in keeping your things secure. So we got to the airport, waiting for our bags, got our bags.
At that time, they had ordered a car for you to come and get you from the airport, right?
Yes.
And then they had taken you directly to the Kentucky Derby from the hosts and hostess's house. But now with Uber Black, it's so easy because you can do all of that same transportation without having to rely on anybody else. All you need is
put
your
anybody
own-
else out or have them spend their
Yes,
money. You can just do it
exactly.
yourself. So it's been wonderful to have that. And, we like to keep it simple. And, that's what we did in me going to the Kentucky Derby and Ma Cherie doing it at her house. For me, it was getting everything organized in advance. So once we got there, I didn't have to run around looking for anything.
At my Kentucky Derby party, keeping it savvy simple meant being resourceful because we had such a short time to do it within
Yes.
that we needed to shop at home for our decor and for our outfits. And then food, whatever I had already. I'll tell you a story, actually. This is true. Our friends had the previous day, brought over a beautiful selection of delicious pastries from a local bakery called Common
Well,
Bond. Common Bond. I was wondering what that name was. It's Common Bond.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And
why did they do that?
well, we had them over just to come over and hang out in the morning one Saturday.
Mhm.
I guess it was a Saturday. No, it was a Friday. I guess it was Friday. And for some reason we were off that day. The kids were off. And so they had just stopped by, brought these delicious pastries, and we weren't able to finish them all.
Right.
So we used them the next day for the luncheon, and they were delicious.
Mm.
And then
That was a happy accident.
it was a happy accident. And then I just got to add to that. So along with the tea sandwiches and the little other finger food desserts that we had. But we also wanted to decorate beautifully again with roses.
Mm-hmm.
And so we ended up doing roses for the wreaths, bought those locally also, and then used a wreath I already had, just added the roses to it. And then my friend Sarah wanted to split the costs with me. And so we used Venmo. You can also use Cash App or Zelle. There are so many ways to split the costs now with people. Apple Pay is another one, PayPal, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly what we did, keeping it savvy simple.
One of you lucky viewers is going to win this hat. Let me tell you about this hat. First of all, you think this color, oh my goodness. Well, this color can be how everyone anywhere at any time can find you. So never wear the hat unless you want to be found. It's great when you travel because someone can pick you out of a crowd and say, there she is. That's the only yellow hat in the crowd. At the beach, it keeps the sun off you and it doesn't make you perspire because it's a natural cotton fabric. If you go hiking with it, the same thing. The great part about it is it's foldable. That makes it easy to pack. And it's machine washable. A hat for all seasons and a hat for someone that wants and desires style. To win this hat, all you have to do is comment on Gayla Bentley's Style Savvy YouTube page and leave a comment. You'll be added to the drawing and hopefully you'll win this fun hat. We're doing a Spark of Savvy segment right now to put together a celebration box. Inside of it, we'll have all the decoration for a tabletop
We're going to a restaurant in about an hour, and we're going to celebrate someone extremely savvy and very special. We're using just a black table, just so we can get a real idea of how everything looks. We're adding a leopard placemat because no matter what restaurant we go to, whether it has a white tablecloth or a wooden table or a red tablecloth, leopard works with all patterns and all prints. So that's going to be the base of this. Then went shopping in the closet, found this pedestal. Pedestals are good because you can go high up on a table because you don't want to go wide because the food will be around everything. That's my favorite line. I'd like to be high and not wide myself, of course, darlings. The next thing we're going to add is we wanted to have balloons. Of course, how can you have a birthday celebration? It is a birthday celebration, by the way. She's 50 and something. I don't want to exactly say what she's going to be. So it has a clip on it. So the clip is excellent because then we can clip it right on to one of the pedestals. There you go. And those are her favorite colors. So we used this simple, it doesn't have to be a million balloons, just enough to show the celebration. And then with a birthday celebration, you want flowers. Blue is her favorite color, so I found a blue vase. And I collect vases at all the places I go to, and she loves tulips. I had found this, present you with this glass that says, diamonds are a girl's best friend. And none of us are going to argue with that, of course. And she's a jeweler, so it's like the perfect glass for her. And to see the words and to make it sparkle, we added the tea lights in there that are on batteries, so we don't have to worry plugging them in anywhere. But putting the white tissue in there shows all the words nice and clearly. So we're going to flank that on one side of our centerpiece. But now we want to add some zippity-doo-dah, and this is something that we can also put on her, and it's a little happy birthday crown, headband, whatever you want to call it. And this is like from the Dollar Tree. And then this is a great little book that I found at a bookstore that says, Hello Beautiful, 365 Ways to Even Be More Beautiful. Not that she needs to be, but it's a little fun book that you can keep around and read. We're going to flank that on the other side of the centerpiece to balance things. So you want a 360 look when you go for a centerpiece. So someone sitting on that side might pick up that book and look at it. So now we're going to put the piece de resistance, the desserts, on there. We decided to do individual cupcakes. The heel on that is so adorable. Darling. And if that's the case, we might end up moving. This is why you do it, because then we might end up moving the glass that says the girl's best friend to a different corner. Now, all these cupcakes have all the colors in it that she loves, and they all have plastic rings on it. Again, a little reference to her being a jeweler, and she loves butterflies, so trying to find all the little things that someone loves when we're celebrating them. Again, this doesn't have to be expensive. It looks so pretty. Okay, so now we'll remove the plastic from there. Let's all look at this together and say, There we go. Let's all step back now and look at everything. And then I found these napkins that was within my own inventory. I'm going to put those on each corner like so, and like so.
Say some little dubbies.
Yes, and each dove has
a very inspirational message.
Yes, an inspirational messages. No one can have too many of those. Candy, cupcakes, balloons, flowers, sentiments. This is what we're going to put on her when she arrives. Birthday queen, because that's what she is. And interestingly enough, she had given me this. Isn't that pretty? Notice that the gold candy by Dove coordinates with the birthday girl sash, which is very exciting. It's interesting to try to harmonize all the colors, but never looks contrived. But when you look at it, it looks like a piece de resistance because everything goes so nicely together. We love fanciful, we love fun, and that's what we're presenting. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Emily. Happy birthday to you. Cha cha cha.
I'm gonna eat a cupcake immediately. It will make me feel so much better.
Oh, good. You love me a little.
Thank you guys. Yes, how sweet. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Yes, I know. My darlings, thank you for tuning in today to the Derby Darling episode. I hope you've had fun with us and learned things about having a Derby party right in your own home. Or if you're going to the Kentucky Derby, some tips that I shared with you to make it a more fun and pleasant trip. And we want to thank you always for subscribing. We'd love it if you'd share. We're trying to work our way into social influencers, and each one of you make a difference in our lives, and we appreciate hearing from you. Also, my book will be coming out soon, and in upcoming episodes, I'll be ripping some pages from my book and telling you some stories that are in the book, but you don't want to miss that. And Ma Cherie, tell them the big news that you have today.
I want to share with you that I've started my own Instagram page, and you can find me at Ma Cherie _shoe lover. And I just want to make sure that you all check it out, because you will be seeing my posts on shoes and lots of other tips and tricks and little snips of style savvy moments.
Yeah, you don't want to miss that.
Yes.
She's on the go all the time.
So I will look forward to seeing you all at Ma Cherie _shoe lover on Instagram.
Ma Cherie, where did you find these fabulous boots?
You won't believe it, but these fabulous boots are from Walmart.
There you go. Gotta leave you with a good sale. And this necklace is from a consignment shop that I found that I love. This cashmere wrap is from Eva's Closet, Darling. And these red roses, I made this little gem of a trim myself. So, well, this came from the jewelry show that I went with you.
Oh, fun.
I love the jewelry show, by the way. We have them all over the country.
It's coming up.
Yes. Oh, it is coming up. We'll be going. We'd like you to know all these little things so that you can add them to your fun and exciting things to do. But most importantly, tune in, comment. We love you, darlings. Don't forget to live in personal style. Until you go to Kentucky and with your own eyes behold the Derby. You ain't never been anywhere, nowhere until you seen. Let me try to get that. So she got to beat. She was.
And we go off script all the time.
Oh yes,
I mean, let's face it.
I know. Let's face it. That's what makes
Even while filming.
Yes, yes, darling, as you know. So in this case, we have fabulous versus fabulous, because we have two talk. In this case, we have the gates open, everyone rushes in, and when we start again, I'm sorry. So once the Derby's over, yet another fun tradition is going to come into play. Ma Ami. One moment, please. It's in the winner's box. And this is where I was telling you, Mon Ami.
Ma Cherie.
I'm out of here. I love Southwest Airlines non-flight flights.
Have you been drinking
It
bourbon?
sounds like, I swear to God.
What's in the cup, Gigi?
Do you think I'm losing my mind? I really hope
No.
Okay.
You're on sugar.
You're on
That's
a sugar
true.
now.
Rush.
You're on a
Ma
sugar.
Cherie.
Ma Cherie.